Geoff, it seems as though your boat is incredibly outfitted. We've got stern anchors, lines coiled, ready at hand, big fishermen up forward, bow lines, a couple fenders. I see a pull-off up there, which we'll get into in a little bit. Can you talk us through, kind of what are the key ingredients to beach cruising and anchoring this small boat for you?
Well, I've kind of got all the toys aboard today. 3 weeks ago I did the Small Reach Regatta with this traditional small boat crowd, and that event's kind of gear intensive. They actually inspect and make sure you've got all your stuff, so I've got all the toys today. Starting back in the stern, there's about a 15-pound Danforth with 10 or so feet of chain, sort of the standard anchor in most of the world. And a handy thing. It's not necessarily my favorite anchor, but it's a good lunch hook. It's a good sandy anchor. Pitiful in rocks and has its drawbacks and its pluses like everything else. The rest of the lines hanging back on this mizzen partner are a tow line, a couple of dock lines, some spare small stuff for lashing and rigging anything that comes loose. This is actually a spare halyard just in case, because I happen to know that my main halyard's getting a little worn and could let go, and it's always handy to have the new one.
You got your bucket?
I've got my universal soft rubber bucket, which serves many purposes. There's even a sponge in there for wiping down. It's kind of the tail end of the boat. Moving forward in the general seamanship world, I've got a couple of tubular fenders tied under these seats, which are a little extra flotation the way they're lashed in should something really exciting happen. And they are incredibly handy as rollers for moving the boat around on the beach.
Right.
Just worth their weight in gold. Oars on the floor. Reasonably accessible. This boat takes big oars. They're 11 feet long. They're a little unwieldy, and I have just found over the years that even though it takes a second to get them free if you need them, that's the most out-of-the-way place.
Right alongside your centerboard?
Right alongside the centerboard, and with the blades flat back here, I can walk around in bare feet and be happy. One piece of small boat gear that I don't see on a lot of small boats that's indispensable is actually a boat hook. Particularly single-handed, being able to extend my reach 6 feet for a dock line or a fouled mizzen sheet or pushing off a piling or threatening another boat that's getting too close. This thing is indispensable.
It's a beautiful boat hook.
It's from the German catalog again. Toplicht has medieval-looking boat hooks. You can buy all sorts of cool things. And I just cobbled this together once upon a time when I realized that it could double as my paddle. And this boat being so light, I am either sailing or a few strokes with a canoe paddle and I can be where I want to go. I don't often get the oars out.
Right.
And I combine these into one, and it's been kind of fun. It's a handy tool. So moving forward, just ahead of the centerboard case is my trophy on the boat. I've got an antique cast iron 30-pound fisherman.
It's a serious little anchor.
It's a serious anchor. It's, frankly, way bigger than this boat needs. But this is what my kids and I call the Popeye anchor, and we love it, and it has never failed us. This boat rode out a hurricane in Pleasant Bay on Cape Cod one time in 4 feet of water, 70-mile-an-hour winds, sitting on that anchor, never moved an inch.
It's amazing.
And every other boat in the harbor was on the beach. So we take it along even if we don't need it. It deserves to go for a boat ride.
Right. You got your anchor rode in a basket. What do you carry for anchor rode, Geoff?
I've got there about 250 feet of 3/8-inch nylon. I've got thimble spliced in both ends. The end you're holding in your hand, starting from that end, I've got it marked in 30-foot increments to kind of keep track of how much road I have out. That's a critical point. Every anchor has a sweet amount of road it needs to be reliable.
Right.
And boy, once the first 10 feet goes over, it's hard to keep track of thin white rope. And
so keeping your road well marked, the key to
reasonably marked, so you have a clue how much line you've got over. Judging the angle is fishy. Lots of things can influence the angle. And it's important. Classically, a Danforth needs a 7-to-1 scope. That's a lot of rope. Fishermen, you can get away with 3-to-1, especially if it's really heavy. It's just important to know. And traditional seamanship books, there was a really classical system of marking with pieces of leather, and each leather has a different shape, and you can feel it in the night, and be all salty and so forth. I do have markers every 30 feet, and it helps me keep track.
Right.
And I've got it flaked out in a basket. That is the easiest, most reliable way to have the line feed out cleanly. A big line is a pain to coil and keep coherent, no matter how good a coiler you are.
So this basket lends itself, open basket style, lends itself to being able to have a few shackles?
Yeah, I keep my shackles there. You might find a couple of mast wedges down in the bottom. That's obviously a very sophisticated piece of marine equipment there. Punch some holes in the bottom so that it drains. And if I don't need it in the boat because I'm just going for a day sail, it can stay in the back of the truck or stay in the garage. It's good portability.
Right. Couple big fenders going forward?
Yeah, the flare on this boat is so pronounced that it takes a really big diameter fender to give yourself any bumper against another boat hull or something. And with the volume on those, with them lashed in solidly, there's an amazing amount of return buoyancy.
Right.
Should you get swamped. Hanging on the mainmast partner to starboard there is a second anchor rod. That's 150 feet of 3/8 nylon. That's right off the shelf at the Marine Supply House. And although it's in the opposite end of the boat, that's what I would shackle onto the Danforth. And then an outhaul.
While there are many ways to outfit a small boat for beach cruising, Geoff has done an incredible job with NED LUDD. Thanks for the tour, Geoff, and happy beach cruising.